All right, welcome everyone. In this explainer, we are going to absolutely master the simple future tense. The goal here is to build your confidence so you can use it correctly every single time without even thinking about it.
Okay, so first things first, what is the simple future tense? Well, to put it simply, it's our number one tool in English for talking about anything, any action, any event that's going to happen in the future. A time later than right now. So, when do we actually pull this tense out of our toolbox? It really boils down to two key situations. First, for things that are just going to happen later. And second, and this is a big one, for those decisions we make on the fly, spontaneously, right in the moment. We're going to break down both of these for sure. All right, let's get into the construction part. How do we actually build these sentences? Think of this as the basic blueprint. The most common way, the one you'll see 99% of the time, is with the word will. And the formula? Oh, it's beautifully simple. It's just subject plus will plus the basic form of the verb. That's it. Now, besides will, you might have also heard of the word shall. The best way to think about shall is like will's more formal, maybe slightly old-fashioned cousin. It just adds a little bit of politeness or seriousness to what you're saying, and traditionally, you'll see it paired with I and we. Okay, here is a rule that's going to make your life so much easier. Ready for this? The verb that comes after will or shall, it never changes. I mean, ever. It's always in its simplest, most basic form. No S, no ing, no ed, nothing, just the plain original verb. Super simple, right? So what about making a positive statement, an affirmative sentence? Well, we just stick to that core formula we just learned. For example, he will help you with that heavy suitcase. See? It's a direct, confident statement about what's going to happen in the future. And what if you want to make it negative? It's just as easy. All you have to do is slide the word not right in there after will. But in everyday conversation, you're almost always going to hear the contraction, won't. It's just much more common and natural. Okay, so what about asking a question? Again, it's super straightforward. We just flip the order around. The word will jumps to the very front of the sentence, right before the subject. So instead of you will come, it becomes will you come to the party? Easy peasy. Now, you can even ask a negative question, something like, won't you be coming with us? We use this form when we're pretty sure the answer should be yes, and we're kind of confirming it, maybe with a little bit of surprise or trying to be persuasive. You know that feeling? All right, enough with the rules for a second. Let's talk about the real world. Where do we actually use this? The number one use is just for stating a future action or fact. It could be something you plan to do, like, I will walk to work tomorrow. Or it can be a hard fact, like, the concert will start at 7 p.m. Both are future events. Okay, pay close attention to this one, because this is absolutely key if you want to sound natural. We use will for instant decisions, decisions you make right on the spot. Look at the example. Person B had zero plans to buy milk, but the second they found out it was gone, bam, I will get some later. That is a classic, perfect, instant decision. Next up, promises and offers. Whenever you want to give someone your word or you see someone struggling and you want to offer help, will is your best friend. It really signals your intention and your commitment. And notice how we often use the contraction I'll, like in I'll help you. It just sounds so much friendlier and more immediate, doesn't it? Now, will and shall can also get pretty serious. They can be used for threats and warnings. Here, it's not a prediction anymore. It's a command. Think of a parent telling their kid, you will eat your vegetables. It basically means there's no choice in the matter. You'll also see this strong, forceful use in really formal situations, like in a courtroom. And the last big use, predictions. This is when we're basically acting like a fortune teller. We use will to make guesses about the future that are based on our own opinions or feelings. It's not always about hard evidence. It's just about what we think is going to happen, like, I think our team will win. Okay, let's talk about clues. There are certain words that are like giant, flashing neon signs that scream, use the future tense. When you see words like tomorrow, next week, next month, or next year, it's a huge hint that the action hasn't happened yet, and you probably need to be thinking about will. And here are a few more of those signal words. They might be a little less specific than tomorrow, right? But words like soon, later, or the phrase in the future, they all clearly point to a time that's after right now. So again, they're great indicators that you'll probably need to use the simple future. So, when you need to ask for info about something happening in the future, these are the words you're going to start your sentence with. Think about it. When? What time? They just pair up perfectly with will and shall to create those really clear, direct questions about what's coming up. I'm going to say this again because it's so important. Will is the champion of spontaneity. If there was no plan beforehand, if the decision was just made this very second, then will is the right choice. This is a really, really important distinction to remember. And hey, here's some fantastic news, especially for anyone who gets tired of complicated grammar rules. With the simple future tense, subject-verb agreement is, well, it's a piece of cake. Will never, ever changes. It doesn't matter if you're talking about I, you, he, she, it, we, or they. It's always just will. How great is that? So let's just quickly summarize the whole will versus shall thing. Think of will as your everyday, all-purpose multi-tool. You can use it for anything. Shall, on the other hand, is like a specialty tool you pull out when you want to sound extra formal, extra polite, or really determined, especially with I and we. Okay, let's tackle what might be one of the trickiest parts for a lot of English learners, will versus be going to. What's the difference? It all comes down to one simple question. When was the decision made? If you decided right now, as you're speaking, you use will. If you decided before you started speaking, yesterday, last week, 5 minutes ago, you use be going to. Let's see this in action, because examples make everything clearer. The phone rings. You say, I'll get it. That's spontaneous. You use will. But saying, I am going to wash my hair after dinner, well, that's a plan you made earlier. Now, the rain example is really cool. If you see dark clouds, there's evidence. So you say, it is going to rain. But if you just have a feeling, it's your opinion. You say, I think it will rain. See the difference? And to make things even more interesting, you can also use the present continuous tense to talk about the future. But, and this is a big but, only for really solid fixed plans and arrangements. We're talking appointments in your calendar, flights you've booked. When you say, I'm flying to Boston tomorrow, it means your tickets are bought, it's happening. I'll call you tomorrow, on the other hand, is more of a promise. It's not a set-in-stone appointment. Okay, let's talk about some common mistakes so you can avoid them. The number one error I see is people forgetting that the verb after will has to be the base form. It's so tempting to add an S for he, she, or it, right? But you have to resist. It's always he will go, never he will goes. Yeah, seeing them side by side like this really hammers the point home, doesn't it? Just remember the 3 no's, no S on the main verb, no to after will, and definitely no S on the word will itself. Just keep it simple, keep it clean. All right, for all of you out there with an exam coming up, this is your strategy slide. Listen up. If you get a fill-in-the-blank question, hunt for those time words like tomorrow. If it's an error correction question, the first thing you should check is the verb after will. And if it's multiple choice between will and going to, just ask yourself one question. Was this a plan or was it spontaneous? And what if a test asks you to transform a sentence, say from present to future? It's a simple 3-step process. Step 1, find the subject and verb. Step 2, just pop will right in front of that verb. And step 3, and please don't forget this, it's the most important part, make sure that verb is in its basic original form. Look, this stuff isn't just for textbooks and exams. We use the simple future tense all the time in our daily lives without even realizing it. Think about being in a restaurant. The waiter comes over and you say, I think I'll have the salad. That's it. That's a perfect real-world example of an instant decision. So, how can you get good at spotting this tense out in the wild when you're reading a book or listening to a song? Just look for these 3 clues. First, the structure. Will plus a base verb. That's a dead giveaway. Second, listen for the contractions. Ll and won't. They are everywhere. And third, look for those time words. They're your best friends. Okay, deep breath. Let's do a final lightning-fast review to lock it all in. The structure, subject plus will plus base verb. Negative, won't. Question, start with will. The key uses, predictions, promises, and those all-important instant decisions. And the key words to look for, tomorrow, next week, soon. Got it? You know, if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, I want it to be this. The simple future with will is your absolute go-to tool when you're talking about the future, especially when it involves spontaneity or your own personal conviction. And let's never forget why this all matters, right? I mean, mastering grammar isn't really about passing tests. It's about communicating better. It's about making your ideas clearer and more effective in every conversation, every text, every email. It really does enhance how you engage with the world every single day.
So, there you have it. That was our deep dive into the simple future tense. You now have all the tools, the structure, the rules, the context to go out and use it correctly and with total confidence. Thanks so much for joining me. Now go talk about the future.